Got it. Since you haven't provided the content of Keynote 1, I'll create a detailed, engaging 500-word expansion based on the theme from your earlier hook. I went to his office for a job, but found something dangerous instead. Here's the expanded keynote. I had been searching for a job for weeks, sending out applications and waiting for responses that never seemed to come. So, when I finally got a call from him, inviting me to his office, I felt a mixture of excitement and relief. Maybe this was the break I had been waiting for. Maybe my life was about to change. The office looked normal at first glance, sterile, neat, almost boring. But there was something in the air that made me uneasy. The hum of fluorescent lights felt louder than usual, and a faint scent of something metallic lingered in the air. I tried to shake it off, telling myself I was just nervous. After all, first impressions matter. He greeted me warmly, offering a seat and a drink. His smile was too perfect, his handshake too firm. As we talked about the job, I tried to focus to ask the right questions and give the right answers. But my eyes kept wandering. The office walls were lined with strange items, odd devices that I couldn't identify, papers with diagrams that made no sense, and locked cabinets that seemed almost out of place. Curiosity got the better of me. I glanced at a drawer that was slightly ajar, and I saw papers and files that were clearly not meant for prying eyes. My heart started racing. What was all this? Why did it feel like I had stumbled into something I shouldn't see? Then I noticed it, a locked door at the back of the office, humming softly, like a machine working tirelessly behind it. I leaned closer, tried to listen, and a chill ran down my spine. Something moved inside. It wasn't human, or at least it didn't sound human. My mind raced with questions, each one more terrifying than the last. What had I gotten myself into? I realized then that this wasn't just about a job. Whatever was behind that door, it was dangerous. My instinct screamed at me to leave, to run, but part of me was frozen, trapped by a mix of fear and fascination. I had always wondered what life beyond ordinary looked like, but I hadn't expected to find it like this. So close, yet so perilous. I had a choice. Step back into the safety of the unknown and leave it all behind, or risk everything to uncover the secret that lay behind that humming door. The seconds felt like hours, and in that moment, I understood one thing clearly. Some opportunities come with a price, and not all doors are meant to be opened. Perfect. Following the same suspenseful theme from Keynote 1, here's a detailed 500-word expansion for Keynote 2. After the unnerving experience in his office, I thought the worst was over. I had managed to leave without raising suspicion, but the images of what I had glimpsed, the humming door, the strange devices, the papers that shouldn't have been there, kept replaying in my mind. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Something told me this was bigger than just a creepy office. Something dangerous was happening, and I had unwittingly walked straight into it. The next day, curiosity gnawed at me. I found myself walking past the building again, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. I couldn't explain why, but I felt like I had to know more. As I lingered outside, I noticed subtle details I hadn't before. The security cameras positioned at odd angles, the reinforced windows, and the quiet hum that seemed to emanate from the building itself. It was almost alive, like it had secrets it desperately wanted to protect. I decided to return, under the guise of picking up some paperwork I forgot. This time, I was more cautious, more aware of every sound and shadow. The receptionist barely looked up as I entered, but I noticed a flicker of recognition in her eyes, as if she knew something I didn't. My instinct screamed that I was stepping into a trap, but something stronger, something I couldn't ignore, drove me forward. He greeted me again, smiling the same unnerving smile, pretending nothing unusual had happened. We talked briefly about the job, but I could barely focus. My attention kept drifting to the locked door at the back. That faint humming was still there like a heartbeat, reminding me that whatever was hidden behind it was still active, still alive. As the conversation ended, I made my move. Pretending to stretch my legs, I slowly approached the door. My hand trembled as I reached for the handle, but then I froze. The door had changed. There were markings on it now, symbols that I didn't recognize, etched deep into the wood. They seemed to pulse faintly under the dim light, as if reacting to my presence. I realized then that I wasn't just intruding into an office. I had stumbled into something far more sinister, something that didn't want to be discovered. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. My heart raced as I turned, half expecting him to confront me. But it wasn't him. It was someone else, someone tall, cloaked in shadows, moving silently with precision. The air grew colder, heavier, as if the room itself was warning me to leave. But I couldn't. The sense of danger had morphed into an obsession. I had to know the truth, no matter the cost. In that moment, I understood a terrifying truth. Some secrets are buried for a reason. And now, I had crossed a line I couldn't uncross. Every instinct screamed at me to run, yet every part of me wanted to push forward. What was behind that door? What was he hiding? And, most importantly, could I survive the answer? Perfect. Continuing the suspenseful storyline, here's a 500-word expansion for Keynote 3. After the encounter near the mysterious door, I thought I had seen everything in that office, but I was wrong. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how much I didn't know. Something about that place wasn't just illegal or secret. It was unnatural. Whatever was happening inside, that building went far beyond ordinary danger. And I had accidentally walked straight into it. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was watching me. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see the faint glow from the symbols etched on the door, pulsing like a warning. I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, but deep down I knew it wasn't. Curiosity had a price, and I was starting to pay it. A few days later, I found myself back in the city, trying to act casual as I walked past the office again. From the street, everything looked normal, but I noticed subtle changes. The blinds were drawn differently, a new security camera glinting in the corner, and shadows that moved just slightly out of sync with the rest of the building. Something had shifted. Whatever was behind that door was aware of me now. Determined to uncover the truth, I waited for him to leave and slipped inside when the office was empty. The familiar hum of the locked door greeted me immediately. My pulse quickened as I moved closer, trying to hear what was happening inside. Then I noticed a notebook left on a nearby desk, pages filled with strange symbols, diagrams, and notes that made no sense at first glance. But one phrase stood out, written in bold: containment breach imminent. My stomach dropped. Containment? Breach? This wasn't just a job. This was a controlled experiment. Or worse, a secret no one was meant to survive. I felt a sudden noise behind me. I spun around to see a shadow move across the floor. Panic surged through me, but my feet kept moving, almost of their own accord, toward the humming door. The closer I got, the louder it seemed to resonate, vibrating through the floor through my bones. My hand hovered over the handle. I knew that opening it could mean facing something unimaginable, but the need to know was stronger than fear. At that exact moment, I heard a voice, calm but menacing, from behind me. "You shouldn't be here." I froze, unable to move, unable to speak. The door pulsed again, brighter this time, and I realized that whatever was inside wasn't just an object, wasn't just a secret. It was alive. Something dangerous. Something that could change everything if it got out. I backed away slowly, my mind racing, trying to make sense of what I had stumbled into. The office, the door, the humming, it was all connected. And I had triggered something I didn't fully understand. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but one question burned louder than fear. What was he hiding behind that door? And now that I knew it existed, would I be able to survive long enough to find out? The air seemed heavier, charged with an energy I couldn't explain. I realized then that some doors aren't just closed to keep things in. They're closed to keep people like me out. And I had just crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Got it. Here's a fresh 500-word expansion of Keynote 1, keeping the suspenseful, mysterious theme consistent with your previous keynotes. The day I got the call, I felt a rush of hope I hadn't felt in weeks. Finally, a chance at a job that could change everything. I told myself to stay calm, but my palms were sweaty, my heart pounding as I approached the building. The office looked ordinary from the outside, just another glass and steel structure in the heart of the city. Yet the moment I stepped inside, I sensed something was off. At first, it was subtle. The faint smell of chemicals mixed with paper, the low hum of machines in the background, and the peculiar way the light flickered in certain corners. I brushed it off as nerves. After all, first impressions matter. The receptionist smiled politely, but didn't ask any questions, which felt unusual. Most offices greet visitors with more curiosity. I ignored the feeling and followed the man who had called me, hoping it was just my imagination. His office was more than just a room. It felt like a stage set. Every object seemed deliberately placed, from the antique desk to the shelves lined with strange items I couldn't name. As he spoke about the position, my eyes wandered. I noticed a locked cabinet tucked in the corner, its handle slightly worn, as if it had been opened frequently. On the walls, charts and diagrams hinted at experiments, calculations, and patterns that made no sense to me. My curiosity grew, but I told myself to stay focused on the job. Then I saw it, a door at the back, small and plain, yet humming softly, almost imperceptibly. It was subtle, but the vibration was distinct, like it was alive. My stomach twisted as I realized I was staring at something I wasn't meant to see. My mind raced. What was behind it? And why did it feel like it was calling to me? Trying to act normal, I sat down, shaking slightly. He continued talking, but I barely heard his words. My attention was drawn to a drawer that was slightly open. Inside were papers, diagrams, and photographs. Everything screamed, "Do not touch." I had glimpsed something that felt dangerous, something I couldn't ignore. The thrill of discovery battled with a rising fear. For a moment, I wondered if I should leave, but my feet were rooted to the ground. The air seemed thicker, heavier, charged with tension. Every instinct in me screamed that this wasn't just a job interview. I was standing on the edge of secret, one that someone had gone to great lengths to protect. I realized then that some doors aren't meant to be opened, and some secrets aren't meant to be known. As I left the office, my mind was spinning. The normality of the building, the polite smile, the mundane conversation, it had all been a facade. Behind it was something dangerous, something hidden in plain sight. And for the first time, I understood that curiosity could lead to discovery or destruction. One thing was certain. This was only the beginning, and whatever lay behind that door was waiting. Perfect. Continuing the suspenseful storyline from your previous keynotes, here's a detailed 500-word expansion of Keynote 5. By the time I reached the office again, a sinking feeling had settled deep in my chest. Every step toward that building felt heavier than the last. The events of the past few days, strange papers, humming doors, cryptic symbols, played over and over in my mind. I had to know the truth, even though every instinct screamed at me to walk away. Whatever was hidden in that office, it wasn't just a secret. It was dangerous. The building looked quiet, deceptively normal from the outside. I slipped through the entrance, careful not to draw attention. The receptionist was gone, leaving the lobby empty and eerily silent. The hum of fluorescent lights overhead was louder this time, almost like it was syncing with my heartbeat. I paused, listening. Then I heard it, the low, steady thrum coming from the back office, stronger than before, almost vibrating through the floor itself. I moved closer, my steps cautious, my senses on high alert. The door at the back, the one I had only glimpsed before, stood ominously, its faint glow pulsing through the cracks. I could see the symbols etched into the wood, more defined now, almost alive. My hands itched to push the door open, to uncover the secret that had been hidden from the world. But a part of me hesitated. I knew that crossing this threshold could change everything, maybe even put me in danger I wasn't ready for. Then I noticed movement. Shadows flickered across the room, but there was no one there, or at least no one human. A chill ran down my spine. The air felt thick, charged with a strange energy, like the room itself was alive. I tried to steady my breathing, telling myself I could handle this. But deep down, I knew this was bigger than I had imagined. On a nearby desk lay a notebook I hadn't seen before. Its pages were filled with scrawled notes, sketches of devices, and warnings. Do not enter. Containment unstable. My stomach twisted. Containment? Unstable? Whatever was behind that door wasn't just an object. It was something alive, something potentially uncontrollable. My curiosity battled with fear. Every instinct told me to leave, but I couldn't turn away now. Suddenly, a sound behind me made me spin around. There was a figure in the corner, tall and shadowed, watching me silently. I froze. The figure didn't move, didn't speak, but its presence was undeniable, oppressive. I realized I wasn't alone in this hunt for the truth. Someone, or something, had been waiting, and now I had walked right into it. I took a hesitant step toward the door. The humming intensified, vibrating through my chest, almost calling me forward. My mind raced with questions. What had I gotten myself into? Could I survive what lay beyond this door? And if I discovered the secret, would I ever be able to leave this place unscathed? One thing was certain. The office had more secrets than I could have imagined, and whatever was behind that door had been waiting for someone like me. My pulse quickened, and despite the fear gnawing at every nerve, I took a deep breath and reached for the handle. Absolutely. Continuing the suspenseful arc, here's a 500-word expansion of Keynote 6. By the time I reached the office for the sixth time, I could feel my nerves stretched to their limit. Each step toward the building felt heavier, almost as if the place itself was resisting my presence. The events of the past days, the strange humming door, the cryptic symbols, the notebook warning of a containment breach, had left me restless, unable to eat or sleep properly. Yet a pull I couldn't explain drove me forward stronger than my fear. I needed to know the truth. The lobby was empty, the receptionist absent, and the silence was almost deafening. I moved carefully, aware that any sound I made could betray me. The hum from the back office was louder than ever, resonating through the walls and into my chest. My heart raced, but so did a strange sense of anticipation, as if I were on the verge of uncovering something monumental. I approached the door, now glowing faintly with an eerie light. The symbols etched into the wood were more pronounced, pulsing as if alive. I hesitated, knowing that what lay beyond wasn't just a secret. It was a force, something that could change my life forever for better or worse. My hand hovered over the handle. The pull to open it was almost magnetic, irresistible. I could feel it calling me, daring me to cross the threshold. Then I saw movement in the corner of the office. A shadow shifted, tall and indistinct, watching me. It didn't speak or move closer, but its presence was palpable, almost suffocating. I realized that I was no longer alone, and that someone, or something, had been waiting for me all along. My pulse quickened. Every instinct screamed to me to run, but I couldn't. The need to uncover the truth outweighed my fear. I glanced at the notebook I had seen the last time. Pages filled with sketches, warnings, and diagrams. But now there was something new. Words scratched in a hurried, desperate hand read, "It sees you. Do not open unless ready." My stomach churned. Whatever was behind the door wasn't inert. It was aware, alive, and it knew I was here. The hum intensified, vibrating through the floor, the walls, even my bones. The air grew colder, heavier, charged with an almost tangible energy. I could feel it surrounding me, wrapping around me, urging me forward. Every nerve in my body screamed that this was dangerous, yet every fiber of my being demanded that I discover the secret. Finally, I took a deep breath and turned the handle. The door creaked open, revealing a faint, pulsating glow inside. I couldn't see clearly, but I sensed movement. Something alive, something powerful, something I had no way of predicting. My instinct screamed at me to step back, to run, but I was rooted to the spot, caught between fear and fascination. I realized in that moment that some truths are not meant to be discovered lightly. Some doors exist for a reason, and some secrets demand a price. And now, standing at the threshold, I had to decide, retreat and survive, or step forward and face whatever was waiting, knowing that once crossed, nothing could ever be undone. Absolutely. Continuing your suspenseful storyline, here's a 500-word expansion of Keynote 7. By the seventh visit, the office no longer felt like a building. It felt like a trap. Every step I took toward it was heavier, as though the walls themselves resisted my approach. The events of the past week had consumed my thoughts. The humming door, the cryptic symbols, the notebooks full of frantic warnings. Yet despite every warning, every instinct screaming at me to turn away, I felt an irresistible pull. I had to know what lay behind that door. The lobby was eerily quiet, empty, as though the building itself had been abandoned. Yet the hum from the back office reminded me it was far from dormant. I moved cautiously, my senses stretched to their limits, noting every shadow, every flicker of movement. Something was waiting. Something had been waiting for me all along. As I reached the familiar door, my hand trembled slightly. The symbols etched into the wood glowed more intensely than ever before, pulsating like a heartbeat. They seemed almost sentient, as though aware of my presence, warning me to stay away. I realized then that this wasn't just a secret. Whatever lay beyond that door was alive, and somehow it had been expecting me. Suddenly, movement in the corner caught my attention. A shadow shifted, taller than any human, silent and deliberate. It didn't speak, but its presence was suffocating, heavy with intent. My pulse raced. Fear clawed at me, demanding I run, but fascination rooted me in place. I couldn't leave. Not yet. I glanced at the notebook I had discovered on my last visit. This time, the words were more desperate. Do not open. Containment failing. It watches. My stomach twisted. It watches. Whatever was behind the door wasn't inert. It wasn't just a machine, a device, or a secret. It was aware of me, aware of its surroundings, and potentially dangerous. The humming intensified, vibrating through the floor, the walls, even my chest. The air was charged, heavier, almost tangible, pressing against me like a physical force. Each breath I took felt electric, as though the room itself was alive, warning me, testing me. My instinct screamed that this was beyond human comprehension. Whatever I was about to face could change everything. My life, the office, perhaps even the world. I took a deep breath and reached for the handle. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a dimly glowing interior. I couldn't see clearly, but I sensed movement, something alive, shifting in ways that defied logic. A low vibration ran through the room, a pulse, as if the entity inside was sizing me up, acknowledging my intrusion. And in that instant, I realized a terrifying truth. Some doors are closed not to protect what's inside, but to protect the world outside. Whatever awaited me beyond that threshold demanded respect, caution, and perhaps a price I wasn't ready to pay. Yet there I stood, caught between fear and curiosity, knowing that one step forward would change everything. Some secrets are not just dangerous, they're alive. And now, I was standing face to face with one.